Lesson 9, Sprite Movement. So we're going to combine the draw loop and the counter pattern so that we can write programs that move sprites across the screen as well as animate other sprite properties. Now the counter loop is a unplugged activity from lesson 8, so we'll just go ahead and explain a little bit as we go through. First thing you want to do is watch this video, animate with sprites, and then you can continue on and work through the lessons. So we've got the counter pattern. This is a very important part in programming. We've got here x gets the value of x plus 1. What this does is this increases the value of x by 1 every time it goes through the draw loop. So here's your draw loop. Okay, we've got a variable var counter equals 0. So we've got a variable called counter, and it's being set to a value of 0. Then you go to the draw function, and everything in here happens over and over again. So it sets the background to white, and sets the text size to counter. Now counter is a value of 0 the first time we run through. So text size is going to be 0, basically invisible, and the text that's going to show up is going to be whatever counter is, which is going to be 0. So it's going to say 0 as the text. And then the positioning for that is going to be 0 for the x, and then 400 for the y. So all the way down here in the bottom corner. Okay, that's where our number 0 is going to be shown with the text size of 0. So after it draws 0 here with the text size of 0, it's going to say now counter is going to be set to whatever counter was, which counter was 0, plus 1. So now the counter is 0 plus 1, or just 1. We'll go through the draw loop again the second time. Background is white. The text size now is 1 because remember we had changed it. We'd added 1 to it. Text size is 1, so very teeny font. You probably won't be able to see it. The text that's going to be showing up is going to be 1 again because that's what the value is now, is 1. Then the x and y position are the same, 0 and 400. So it's always going to be down here in the bottom corner, but the size and the actual text that's showing up is going to change each time. So after it was 1, we come back again. Now counter is now set to 1 plus 1. So now it's set to 2. Goes through it again. Text size is going to be 2. The text that's going to show up is going to be the number 2, and then at the same location again. Then now the counter is set to 2 plus 1, so now it's at 3. So every time it goes through this loop, the text size gets bigger, and the actual text that's shown on the screen gets bigger. The number is bigger. So it starts with 0, then it shows 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Let's run it and see. Well, it does say it down here. It asks what happens. What do we think is going to happen? Okay, it will show text of growing size and a number that grows by 1. So essentially it's going up by 1 and the size is going up by 1. The number that's being shown is going up and the size. So if we run this, see the size is getting bigger and bigger and the number is getting bigger and bigger. Every number matches with whatever the font size is because they're both increasing by 1 each time. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is using the counter pattern, we're going to write programs that animate sprites smoothly. As we can see here, the plane is flying across the screen. If it's going left to right, it's going to be the X property that's being updated. So let's go ahead and run it and see what it looks like. Okay, nothing's happening yet. So let's go ahead and look at our code. So we've got a variable plane. It creates a plane and also sets the animation to plane. We've got the draw function. Now it says move the plane sprite 1 pixel to the right. So if we go to sprites and we go sprite.x, we're going to call this plane.x equals plane.x plus 1. So it's adding to the x position each time. Now this block was already there. I missed it when I first started entering it in, so we're just going to leave it like that. And we're going to run it. And it's updating. The plane x position is increasing by 1 each time. Okay, so let's continue on to the next exercise, 5. On this one, we're changing the x-coordinate to make it move to the left. So Here we don't have a fly.x in there already, so let's go ahead and click on the sprites menu, go to sprite.x. Now remember, it has to match whatever the variable name is. The variable name is fly, as we can see here. So we're going to say fly.x equals. Now, if you want to, you can bring it in here from here, click and drag it over, or you can just type it in fly.x minus 1 because we're going to the left. So the x position is going down each time. So let's go ahead and run that. And it's working. Now in exercise 6, it wants us to look at the code and predict which of the following animations will be produced here. We've got 4 sets of cars. So if we look here, we've got our variables set for the red car, the animation is set, and then the red car rotation is 90, so 90 degrees for the rotation. Yellow car is set, and the yellow car rotation is 180 degrees. The blue car is set with the rotation of 270 degrees, and then the green car does not have a rotation. So we can then go look over here and see what's happening to each car. The red car X position is becoming the red car X position plus 4, so it's going 4 to the right each time. The blue car's X position is blue car dot X minus 4, so it's going 4 to the left. So the red should be going to the right, blue should be going to the left. The yellow car's Y position should be going plus 4, so the yellow car should be going down. And the green car's Y position is minus 4 each time, so the yellow should be going up. So if we look at the different ones, looks like this one is the one C. Let's run it. And that matches. So let's go ahead and move on to exercise 7. For this one, we want to not only move one direction, but move 2 directions at the same time. So it's to make it diagonal, we have to change the X and we have to change the Y. So if we look here at the code, we've got the variable, the mouse is set, the animation set, the scale is set to 0.5. Maybe the mouse was too big originally, so they shrunk it down. And then we've got our draw function, so this is what repeats. We get the background as light green, the mouse.y equals mouse.y plus 2. So right now, it should be moving straight down if we run it. Okay, so what we'll need to do is we'll need to add something for the mouse.x. So we can go ahead and go to the sprites and go to sprite.x and say sprite.x equals, and let's change this to mouse. And then we can go ahead and say sprite.x again. I'm going to actually put that away. You could use that, but then you have to switch it to text to show it. So let's go like this. Let's find the plus, the addition operator there. So we've got mouse.x equals, and then we're going to put in mouse.x here, plus 2, and we can type in the 2. And then it says draw sprites, so we know the sprite's going to be drawn each time. Okay, we're almost there. The only thing we need to change is the rotation. Rotation is set based on a clockwise direction. So if we run it, we see we need to turn him actually counterclockwise. So we need to turn him negative 45 degrees. So we can set the rotation here. And we actually can do this before the draw loop because his rotation is not changing each time. We just need to change it once to negative 45 because we don't want him spinning in a circle. So we need it outside of the draw loop. And now it's working. Okay, let's move on to exercise 9, so we'll skip this. This tells us about the counter pattern and how you can use it. You can look at that. So for exercise 9, we have watchers, which help us debug programs. So if we look down here in this watch section, we've got pan rotation, pan.rotation, pan.x, and pan.y. So we can see what's happening with those values. I've already put in what I think will happen here. It's based on this pan.rotation equals pan.rotation plus 1. So I think the pan will rotate slowly clockwise. So let's run it and see what happens down in the watch section. So right here, the pan rotation is going up. It's increasing. The pan X and the pan Y are staying the same. Next, we want to do some more debugging. We want to use the provided watchers for cycle.x and cycle.y to find out which one is moving in the wrong direction. Now, if we want the motorcycle to come this way, from the bottom left corner to the top right corner, the X needs to increase, but the Y needs to decrease because the smaller Y numbers are at the top. As you go lower, it's higher Y numbers. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, it just went off the screen real fast. We're looking on here, the X is increasing and the Y is increasing. The Y should be decreasing instead so that it can go move towards the top. So we just need to come over here to fix the code. Inside the draw function, cycle.y equals cycle.y plus 10. So I'm going to hit show text just to make it easy to edit real quick. And I'm going to take out the plus and put a minus instead. So let's go ahead and run it. And it is working great. Let's move ahead to the next one. All right, on 11, we're using the counter pattern to make all 3 of the fish move as in the image on the right. The blue fish is the fastest, and the green should be the slowest. So let's go ahead and see what it's looking like. All right, only the orange is moving. I'm going to hit show blocks just so we can see what the blocks are looking like. Here's our draw loop. In green, we've got orangefish.x equals orangefish.x minus 2. I'm going to copy this, but I'm going to copy it in text mode. Control C again to copy if you're using a Windows computer, or Command C to copy if you're using a Mac, and then Control V or Command V to paste. So let's go ahead and fix these real quick. We've got orange, blue, and green. And green is slow, and blue is fast. So, orange fish is moving 2 pixels to the left, blue fish, let's say 4 pixels to the left, and green fish, I messed this up, green fish, let's say 1 pixel to the left at a time. And then if we, and I misspelled that. Okay, let's try this now. Now the blue is the fastest, and the green is the slowest. All right, just a few more and we'll be through. So now we've got the rotation property being used to have these gears rotate. There are 3 gears set up. We need to make them look like they're rotating in sync with each other. So red and green should be turning clockwise, blue should be turning counterclockwise. So right now nothing's happening. So let's see if we've got any rotation set. Let's show the block so we can see the draw function a little bit easier in green. And let's go ahead and add a rotation. In the sprite menu, we'll come down and we will find out what's going on here. Okay, sprite dot rotation, and we'll get 3 of these. And we've got the names are red gear, green gear, and blue gear with the second word capitalized. So red gear, green gear, and blue gear. So rotation equals red gear dot rotation, and the red should be turning clockwise, so +1. And the green gear rotation the same, but the blue gear is going to be -1. It's going the other direction.